Hey, you guys, how are you? Hopefully, you're having a wonderful day. I am super excited to talk about today's video, so I'm not going to mince words and take too long getting you guys going. We're just going to kind of jump in and start. But this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. One, because it has major impact, which I always want to teach you guys skills and techniques that are going to help you really grow your business in a major way, right? The little things are important too, but those are things that maybe you might pick up on your own. These big topics, these abstract things that we don't necessarily think about in our day-to-day lives, these are the things that I love and get really excited about sharing with you. So this is one of those classes that you're going to want to sit down and take some notes on and really think about and try to open your mind up to. And it's also one of those classes that you're going to want to finish the video and the download the slide deck, and you're going to want to take some time to think about it after the fact and think about how you can start using it, because it isn't so simple. If it were simple, we would all be doing it naturally, right? That's just not how this works. So really excited about it. We're going to be talking about emotional branding, which is a lot right there. There's so much to talk about what branding is and how emotions can be attached to that. But essentially, what you're going to learn today is how to stop selling to people and start connecting with them, which is one, a much more effective way to grow your business, but two, a lot more fun when you are doing things that make you feel good and help other people, and just connecting and making friends and growing and just fulfilling your passion and kind of growing your circle. And it just so happens that you're doing that in a way that makes a financial impact on your life, which is all we would all want, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I do want to give you guys a little bit of background. My goal in 2020 is to talk to you a lot more about my where I came from and where I am in much more specific terms, and in particular about numbers and sales and stuff like that. For the last couple of years, I've coached so many people on like being confident and not worrying what other people think, and then just like owning your success. And that is something that I've been working on a lot over the last few months. I have a therapist, I have my own coaches like you guys, and really learning to lean into the fact that you've done some things well and that it can help people. And so I'm going to start talking about these things more, not because I want to brag about them, which is what I always worry that people think that I'm bragging about it or that I'm somehow like doing something better than them or that they can't do. It's really about coaching and letting people know my story so that you know you can do it too. But so what I want to share with you guys is that this is the thing, this topic, this education, this is the thing that took my business from, we were doing well, don't get me wrong, but it took it from maybe just me and doing okay and then making more money and quitting my job to building an enterprise and having multiple locations and starting to think about numerous streams of income, the difference between like paycheck to paycheck, but like good paychecks, really good paychecks where you're comfortable, but still paycheck to paycheck. And then maybe having generational wealth that lasts beyond you into your children, or if you're not going to have kids, into family, or kind of building a trust for something. You have to be doing this for some reason, right? So for me, if you don't know, you're new around here, you don't know my story, when I started microblading, I was just trying to quit my part-time job and my full-time job and work part-time. I just wanted to make a little bit of money, and I was gonna have my husband go to work all day long, and then when he got home, I was gonna go to work, and he was gonna take over with the kids. So that way we could take 3 kids out of daycare and after school and save some money there. And quickly that did not happen. I quickly kind of put some of the strategies that I'm always teaching you guys into place, and things blew up from there. But what you need to know is that I started with zero capital. I did not have this big savings fund. My parents didn't give me any money. I didn't have good credit. I could not get a loan. I did not have any credit cards, let alone one credit card that could even help me with anything substantial. So this was very much a grind. And so I know a lot of you watching this will relate to that. And I just want to let you know that I didn't have an advantage. Not that it's wrong if you have those things, I think that's a blessing, but for a lot of us, we don't. So I'm coming from a place of relating to what you're going through. I also didn't have any clientele. So 0 clients, 0 savings. Okay. So that means that everything that I'm teaching you this is what I literally use to take 0 clients to thousands. And if I can do that, so can you. So I really want you to go into this class and try to be open to it, even though it's going to feel a little abstract. And I can tell you that this is what took me from having no clients to being booked out 6 months within the first year. It's the reason why I was able to move out of one suite, a little tiny room, quit my corporate job, and then open a storefront within 9 months of taking my class. And so on and so forth, right? So if that sounds good to you, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's talk about what emotional branding really is and then why it even matters. Like, why can't you just tell people what you do, tell them how much it is, and wait for them to book? I know a lot of you are doing that right now. That's a start, right? It's better than not working and not talking about what you do. But the truth is that people are really connecting to brands. And I mean, I'm talking on a massive, large corporate level. This is not just small stuff. This is what Nike is doing. This is what Starbucks is doing. Jewelry commercials, sports, big, the NFL. The people want to connect. They are no longer just looking for kind of cheesy commercials that tell them the benefits of a product. Usually, think about it. When's the last time you watched a commercial and they just made a bullet point list of the reasons why somebody needed something? But that's what we do as permanent makeup artists. We sit down and we make a post or we share something on our blog and we say, look how microblading can help you. And we just list off a bunch of functional reasons. Nobody markets that way, and we should stop doing that, right? We want to grow to be big corporations as well. So people just don't want you to sell to them. And other companies are doing this now too, big corporations. So they're used to this more emotional connection and they're looking for that in you too. And if they're not finding it, that could be the reason why you get those interested parties and then you talk to them and then they fade away and crickets, right? Like they're not booking. They want to spend their money with people they like, that they love, and that they can relate to. And that isn't just you as a permanent makeup artist. It's hairstylists, it's nail techs, it's the grocery store. Like they want to feel like they're a part of something. People are very much connected to what they believe in now. You probably know a lot more people that are becoming vegan. I'm one of those people. You are going to see a lot more people passionate about animal rights or people who are very into like forwarding the women's right movement and feminism. And social media makes it easier than ever, right, to share how we feel about everything. That's a good thing and also probably a bad thing sometimes. But more and more people are really connecting in that way, and they're sharing that. And it's more common to talk about how you feel and stuff like that. So emotions and like using that and taking advantage of where that trend is right now, and using that in your business, in particular on social media and your online presence, is really going to take your business to the next level. I just can't say it enough. Please take my advice seriously, and that this could really be a game changer for you. So I want to teach you how to connect to your customers on an emotional level. And like I said in the beginning, that is a much more fun thing to do. If you're a creative person, you're probably not also equal parts into selling. Like, we're not sales people. We like to help people. We like to make art. We're passionate about eyebrows maybe, but probably not so much selling stuff. So being a business owner, or even just being a booth renter and having your own space, or being an employee in your chair, you want to do the work of artistry, not so much selling. And I get that. But the moment that you switch gears and understand that you have to start selling to people, you're going to notice that there's a shift in your bookings. And if you can do it in an emotional way, you'll notice a much bigger shift. So let's talk about what emotional branding is. I want you to think about it as though it's creating a voice that really appeals to a customer's emotional state, needs, and goals. So those are kind of the 3 tiers I'm trying to speak to when I share my messaging. And just so you know, we're going to talk about it more, but branding is posts on social media. It's the clothes you wear, the words you say, the way you say them. It's the music that you play in your salon. It is the font that you use on your website. It is the causes that you support. It is the products that you use. It is everything top to bottom. Don't take that and be overwhelmed with it. Just understand that I think that's a good thing. I think that makes it easier. It's honestly who you are and less strategy and thinking than you might realize. It's a fabric of who you are. So if you've even been doing permanent makeup for a few months, you probably have created a brand unknowingly. And I just want you to tap into that. So we're going to be creating a voice for your business that appeals to customers' emotional state, their needs, and their goals. So first, on their emotional state, how are they feeling? And understand that, like, obviously, if you have 100 customers, they're not all going to be in the same place. But if you create a brand and you can continue to hone that, you're going to notice that a lot of your clients are very similar. And that's not coincidence. It's that they've been drawn to your brand for a reason. So I just want you to harness that control and find the clients that you want instead of just figuring out who's finding you and like waiting for them, right? We're going to take action. So how do these customers feel? What's their current state? And you don't necessarily have to ask them. You can. That's one way to find out. But just pay attention to the climate and what's going on social media and in politics. And for example, a lot of you are going to be like me. A lot of my clients are women. And so we're in a time right now, honestly, where there's a lot of women trying to navigate being independent. If you're getting a lot of clients who are moms, whether they have little kids or kids in college, they're dividing their time between being a mom or a wife or their work, and then also trying to take care of themselves. So these are all things that they're going through from an emotional state, and you want to tap into that. So are they feeling frustrated and tired? That's how a lot of my moms are. So they're exhausted. They're just trying to find time for themselves and figure out who they are. Or are you getting a lot more like liberated and empowered women? Those are my clients that are in their 40s and their 50s. They know who they are. Their kids are older or out of their home, so they have more time to focus on what they want to do and devote to maybe causes that are important to them. So again, if your clients are busy, tired moms, you're going to start using your voice to talk to them. And that might mean, for example, if I make a post on social media, I talk a lot about how, hey, it's Christmas break. Christmas break's almost over. How many of us are ready to send our kids back to school and have a glass of wine? Hey, come into the salon. You can have a glass of champagne on us. Let's wax your eyebrows and make you feel good about yourself. Those are the reasons why you see posts like that. It's not just me making up a story. I'm literally sitting down and doing the same strategy I'm showing you guys to use that to my advantage. And when you share content like that, you should notice an increase in booking. You have to do it with regularity, but when you're consistent, you'll notice. I can notice if I'm lazy and I just pop out a few posts or a blog real quick and I don't tap into this, the bookings don't happen the same way. When we talk to people's emotional state, needs, and goals, all of a sudden I'll wake up in the morning and there are all these online bookings that happened overnight. That's not coincidence. When that happens, these strategies working for you, okay? So those are times to celebrate. The second thing I want you to speak to are your customers' needs. What do they need right now? Are your customers in a place of needing support? Are they needing a friend? Do they need inspiration? Which everybody needs that. So when in doubt, just count on the fact that they need some positivity in their life, because where we are in the world right now, we could use a lot of that, right? So speak to them in a way that will fulfill their needs. If you're dealing with customers who are in a space where they need encouragement, which a lot of women do, and I know a lot of our clients are going to be women, you're going to want to speak to them in a kind and welcoming way. It's not going to benefit your brand to be aloof and too cool for school, better than them, or to speak to them in an abrasive way. I see a lot of, not a lot, but I see content posts on social media where people speak to the client kind of in a condescending way, like their client base. They're telling them how they need to pay attention to the aftercare more. They're late all the time. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. You need to make sure you do this. You need to make sure you do that. Be careful of the way you present that information. While it all may be very good information, just be mindful of the way you're speaking to them, because again, you don't know who you're turning off with that, right? So be mindful of who you're dealing with and if that's a tone that they can take or not. And then lastly, I want you to speak to using your voice in a way that appeals to their goals. So what are their aspirations right now? What are they hoping to accomplish? For example, if you have a lot of women that are trying to find their independence, first of all, that's going to transcend all ages. Everyone's working on that, right? What are they trying to accomplish? So I want you to use your voice to support that. If you have a lot of women who are trying to find their way in their careers or at home, maybe that's going to be your 20s and your 30s clientele. Speak to them about that. Share content, quotes, inspirational things about your business, how you took a leap of faith and how it worked out for you. Or when you get those clients in your chair that have really motivational, inspirational stories, share them with their permission. And you'll find a lot more connection happens when you do this, as opposed to, again, just before and after. It feels very, very bland. And I've said this before in other trainings when we talk about branding, nobody's going to tell you that this is why they booked. This is why my coaching is hard to I guess, sell to people who don't understand how marketing and business works, because there is no way for me to show you that when you put these strategies in place, all the money you earned is because of it, right? And it's not. I mean, it has to do with your talent and you as a person. But these strategies will result in more bookings, I can guarantee you, and more referrals and more loyalty because they like you and they like what you stand for. So I want you to start thinking about this. Now, I'm going to pause real quick. If you are struggling with this concept, or you're like, but how do I identify a set of needs and goals in an emotional state for a large group of people? How do I figure out who I'm talking to? I want you to sit down and think about creating a customer persona. And that is going to be a video that I create just on customer persona. We've talked about it in other classes. As a member, you have access to the all of your 10 suite of business courses that we talk about it a lot, especially in like social media and the Social Media Made Simple class. But a customer persona is literally, you're pretending like all of your customers are one person, and you're going to give this girl a name, a gender. You're going to describe how old they are, what they like to do, where they shop. You're going to have, by the time you're done with it, you're going to create an entire picture of a person, and it's going to help you figure out who you're talking to. And then from now on, you're going to make every post, every comment, every piece of art you make, every shirt that you create to sell, everything is designed for that person. And you will find that you have a lot more connection that way. So until such time that that class is completed and you've taken it, you can Google customer personas or marketing customer personas, and you will find all kinds of templates that you can use as inspiration for that. So moving on, these are the 3 tiers I want you to be thinking about when we talk about talking to people. And again, it comes down to appealing to their heart first and their mind second. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and you should write this down, but we want to sell to people's emotions, not their logic. People make purchases with how they feel, and then they justify those purchases with function and logic. So I have given this example before, but when I bought my first designer bag, I was actually working with a coach, much like you're working with me. And the coach asked me, why did you purchase that? Like, what made you purchase that bag? And at the time I said, well, I just really wanted it. And I had something to celebrate, a milestone, or maybe we just completed our first class. I don't remember what it was. But I said, well, I just really wanted the bag, and I had the money at that moment, and I hadn't before. So at that moment, I went out and bought it. And he was like, no, try again. It's actually not true. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course that's what happened. I was there. Like, what else would have happened? I didn't see a Louis Vuitton commercial. I've actually never seen a Louis Vuitton commercial. And then when we dug a little deeper, I realized there were very emotional reasons for why I made that purchase. In my mind, I always associated that bag, whenever I would see a woman carrying a Louis Vuitton bag, especially the classic ones, which is what I wanted at that time, just the ones that you see all over, I always associated that woman with class and prestige and accomplishment. Like, she carries herself with confidence. I've never met a woman who has one, and the way she walks in the room, like, she seems like she has it all figured out, and it's something that you purchase when you've reached that point. And so for me, I felt like I reached that point, and secondarily, I wanted to celebrate a win for myself. And so those are the emotional reasons I made the purchase. In my mind, my justification, what I said out loud, and even when I'm making the purchase and I'm talking to the salesperson, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm so hard on my bags. Like, I just throw them all over the car. I go through a lot of decently priced bags that are like $100 because I destroy them. I put my kids' stuff in them. They spill their sippy cups on them. Like, so I just need something that's going to last. That's how I justified it. And that is not the reason I bought it. So if Louis Vuitton, they've never done this, but let's say they just made a bunch of ads and put everything on their website about, me, like how good it holds up to like spilling bottles in it, or like how you can like get dirt on the outside and wipe it off. Like, they wouldn't do that because that wouldn't move me to purchase it, even though I think it would. Instead, they share images and ideas that support my emotional reasons for buying. That's what I want you to start doing with eyebrows. So I don't want you to spend too much time with your eyeliner, with your lips, saying things like, look, now she doesn't have to fill her brows in anymore. Book with me. Now, there's no it's a very good thing to share with people all of the positives of getting a service. So I don't want you to think that you don't have to tell them how good their life can be if they don't have to fill their brows in. But generally speaking, if that's your everyday post, if that's your everyday conversation when you run into a person and you talk about what you do and you only want to talk about the function, just be aware that some people will get it, but some people won't. And those are those conversations where I get so many messages from people saying, like, I get these inboxes of people who are interested or I'm paying for ads, and then I get some type of response, but they never book. Well, they're not sold. You haven't spoken to them. They haven't made no connection to you. And when it does come time for them to book, they don't feel personally attached to you, so they could pick anyone. Maybe they're just not ready to book yet, but when they're ready, they're going to pick the person that they connect to, that they liked. They just need a reason to buy, and you need to give it to them. So instead of doing that, speak to their emotions. And so here's an example that I've given you here in this slide. How amazing is the fact that this babe no longer has to explain her alopecia condition every time she works out. She no longer gets those rude stares and questions about how come her eyebrow makeup is half wiped off in the gym, because now with microblading, her brows don't move no matter how sweaty she gets during her workout. Like, that to me is a function conversation, but also that's emotional. That's a person who literally is like, they can't get rid of the alopecia and they can't get their hair to grow back, but they can get rid of all of the things that remind them of that every day, and the uncomfortable anxiety that comes along with the fact that you have to be constantly worried about something that's so important on your face. So those are the types of conversations, I know a lot of people struggle with writing captions. These are the things I want you to start thinking about. So now that you understand what emotional marketing is and branding is, and now that you understand a little bit more about the function, the 3 tiers I want you to speak to, I want to talk a little bit about why it works. And essentially what it's doing is all of the things I'm talking about, like having these initial conversations, blog posts, the language that's on your website, the stuff that's in your Instagram bio. These emotional marketing techniques warm the customer up before the actual sale. So you'd be amazed at how many people will follow someone or something or a brand for months or years before they make a purchase, because they're either not ready financially, emotionally, or just lifestyle wise for this purchase yet, or they're not convinced that they need it. But for whatever reason, people will watch and wait. So just because you don't hear from them, just because they're not calling you, doesn't mean that they're not being influenced by your marketing. So this is why it's so important that you're consistent and you do it every day. This still happens to me to this day, where people will be like, I was interested in your class, but I watched your YouTube videos and watched for reviews for 6 months just to make sure it was a good fit. But that whole time, they're being warmed up, they're connecting, they're learning about me or my brand. And I want that for your clients as well. So we've covered why they're not just making logical purchases. And I know that if you can understand this, you can start, it's actually a good thing. You can start feeling less intimidated by all the competition, and you'll be less focused on oversaturation in the market. I always talk to people about how I'm not worried about how many new permanent makeup artists there are, because we all have our own brand. I have my own message, I have my own journey and my own clients. So I'm not worried about how many more people sign up or how cheap or how expensive they are, right? I don't want you to be worried about that. I want you to focus on this branding and perfecting this so that you'll always have the clients that you want. So a lot of people are going to look at reviews and they're going to look at prices, but that's not how they actually finally come to the point where they make a purchase. So one example I want to share with you is, I want you to think about coffee. Most people can easily get, or they have already, the tools to make coffee at home. Nowadays, it's cheaper than ever. You can get it anywhere for next to nothing and have decent coffee. Like, it's so readily available. And you can get a coffee maker on Amazon, I don't know, for like $15. Like, it's very affordable for any budget and lifestyle. And for whatever reason, though, a lot of us will choose to take the time to get out of our house, get in the car, and drive 15, 20 minutes to get a coffee from somewhere, to pay money, the same amount of money we pay to get that latte. We could probably buy a bag of coffee that would last us, I don't even know how many times, because I never make my own coffee because I'm always driving somewhere to get it. Even further, let's take a step deeper. We probably have some kind of brand connection. I'm just going to assume that a lot of people watching this drink Starbucks, because clearly they do. Starbucks is doing very well. So if you're like me, you'll drive past 20 McDonald's on the way to your Starbucks because that is what you want. That's not a logical decision because you could have made that coffee at home. And you definitely could have stopped at Starbucks and saved yourself time and money, or sorry, stopped at McDonald's and saved yourself time and money, but you chose to go to Starbucks. How many of you have waited in the Starbucks line for like 15 minutes when you could have went somewhere else and got it much, much faster? Again, that's not logical at all, but you have an emotional reason for why you're purchasing from Starbucks. And they do a great job of loyalty and all kinds of other stuff, but you feel a part of that. That is you feel a connection to what they have. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If you like coffee and you've tried coffee elsewhere, especially at small, like mom and pop shops or like internationally when you travel, Starbucks coffee isn't that great. Don't get me wrong. I get it every day. But it isn't that great. It's a little bit burnt. They are mass producing it, so it isn't that great. But we still go and we still spend $6, on a drink. So I want that to resonate with you. I want you to remember that. I want you to have the kind of customers that are so loyal and so connected to you that they will drive past 10 other permanent makeup artists and pay more money and wait longer to see you because they love you. And if you don't have that right now, you're not alone. But when you do, you will change the game. You will literally feel so much more financially stable. The bookings will just come. And that's what we're working on. So that's why I'm just so passionate about this. And I want you guys to take this topic and really use it. So again, today's customer wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to belong. They want to be in your tribe. And so you want to start to create an inclusive vibe for your customers and welcome them. So again, that goes back to not being aloof, not being better than thou. You want to feel relatable. And that for that to happen, they need to get to know you. So I'm going to recommend right now that you take a pen and paper or write this down somewhere, and you're going to try to get to know people and let them get to know you. So that means you actually have to be social on social media and not just sharing like posts and then logging off. Like you're going to have to connect with these people, and it does mean you're going to have to get in front of the camera. So I know that makes people really uncomfortable, but you're going to have to start sharing something on your stories. You're going to have to start making videos and things like that so you can connect to them more. So steps to making more money, which is why we're here, by connecting to your clients. And again, I said something earlier. I just want you to think about what we've talked about the last few minutes. And doesn't that sound fun? Like getting to know people and actually really creating like sustainable relationships with people. I think that that is a lot more fun than sitting around and writing up, generic posts and trying to convince people and being stressed out about people buying, and giving you their money. So let's think about what emotions we want to connect to. So I want you to find something that you're passionate about that also matters to your customers. So this is a brand for a brand persona. If you don't already have something like this, this is kind of an exercise for you. So let's say that you want to embrace some charitable endeavors. And so maybe saving the planet is really, really important to you. And you want to talk a lot about conservation. And there's going to be a whole host of clients who are sitting around wanting permanent makeup and not sure like who to book with. And they like your work, and maybe the next girl, and they're willing to pay whatever. They just haven't been convinced yet. But that person sees that you are so focused on conservation, and they're connected to that too. A lot of people are. So now when you talk about that all the time and you share how the work that you create, maybe a percentage of sales goes to help recycling efforts or to save a certain animal or something like that, you'd be amazed the number of people who are like, when I'm ready to book, that's my person. Just based on that. That's why that's not the only reason. It's why a lot of brands do that. They're trying to make a difference in the world, but honestly, it's a marketing idea as well. So think about the money you might spend on ads. If you booked people because they connected to you on that basis and you took a percentage of that sale, that's no different than paying for an ad. You've just done a little bit more and you've actually created more of a brand message, which is why I think this would be more important for you to pursue than just paying for ads on Instagram. If you're like Brow and V, we're very into empowering women and helping them make decisions for themselves, self-care, and like being liberated to decide to tattoo their faces because that's what they want, and we really have a true feminist culture in our businesses, in our offices, with our staff, and then publicly. So this is something that you need to find. If you don't already have this, start making a list, okay? And then you're going to begin to use this emotional position in your branding. So let's say you really are going to talk about female empowerment. That is something that you connect to, you're passionate about, and then you have a whole clientele of women. So clearly they should feel good about that too, right? That is now your emotional connector. You're going to need to embrace and embody that in everything that you do. So that means no more tearing other women down, no more judging other artists publicly, right? So you're not going to be doing those posts where it's like, this is terrible work. This is why the industry sucks right now. And you should pick me because this work is terrible. That's not an alignment with your message and your brand position that you want to empower women. So you're going to have to make sure this is something that you feel passionate about, because if you're saying one thing and acting another way, clients will see right through that, and this isn't going to work for you. Let's say you're focused on conservation. You're going to start talking all the time about how you help save the planet. We only use disposable products and we recycle 90% of what we use. When you serve your coffee to your clients, you give them pasta, uncooked pasta to stir, like noodles, to stir their coffee with instead of using stirrers that you're just going to throw in the trash. And you share posts about that. People will connect with whatever message you have. You just want to figure out what it is and make sure it's something you're passionate about. Okay, so how do we transition the emotional supporter into paying customers? Once you do this for a while, you're going to have some people who are still on the bench. They're still watching. They're not in the game yet, but they at least support you. That's step one, and that is a major, major accomplishment, even though you haven't gotten any money from that yet. They may be referring people to you on the strength of they heard of you and they connected. I've had a lot of people do that. I've asked people where they get referred from. I do that to every client. And sometimes it's people who've never been here, which is always impressive. And that is a sign that you've really made you made a successful brand. But we need them to give us money. That's why we're here, right? So once you establish these connections, it's important that we move these people to purchase. But we need to do that without just selling them. At least we don't want them to feel like we are selling them. So when you share content, and you want them to book, you want to make sure that first your words evoke emotion, and then you can refer them to what you're selling. So you may not just make posts that say, like, look, we recycle everything that's on our tray. That might not be enough. Might want to first showcase your product and then talk about how they should purchase it, because people do need to be told what to do. So I gave an example here where I said, hey, ladies, it's time we take back our time and we focus on taking care of ourselves first, because we're taking care of everyone else and we wear all these hats and everyone's getting all of our time and attention. But it's really time that we take that initiative and take care of ourselves first. And when you're ready, you come see us, and the girls at Brownview will take care of you. Those are the types of things you want to talk about. So just make sure that when you're using emotion to talk to your customers, that you're not just talking about your position and never ever reminding them that you actually want to take care of them and service them. So I do want to talk about this as we kind of get near the end of our training today. Call to action. When you hear the word CTA or the acronym CTA or call to action, I want you to know what that is, and I want you to make sure you're doing this. And it sounds silly, but I have found it to be 100% true that when you don't tell people what to do, there are going to be some people who don't do anything, even though they're interested and you've piqued their interest and they like you and they're emotionally connected, but you didn't really ask anything of them. I want you to make sure that you're starting to use calls to action. You should have these in your bio on Instagram, on Facebook, where you're telling them, book here, click here to learn more, call us to ask questions, stuff like that. So a call to action is really the message to the customer about what they need to do. So you've created the connection. They like you, they're buying in, but like, how do you get them to give you their money? You want to make sure that you're telling them to do something. And I want you to be creative with that. So again, here are eyebrows, buy now. That's not going to work, right? It's easier, but it's not going to work. You want to be brief. So big, long blog stories aren't necessarily appropriate in certain channels, like on a Facebook caption. But so be brief, and you want to be direct. Get to the point. Tell them what you're asking, right? Don't try to fool them or make it seem like it's something that it's not. You've already done all of your work on the background with the emotional connection. So now it's time to just tell them what you want them to do. So I just wanted to include in our training before we wrap things up some things that you can use. These are my most commonly used words and phrases. So I wanted to make sure you had them. But let's chat. Again, this sounds so silly. When someone told me this and I learned this for the first time, I remember thinking, why does someone need me to tell them to chat with me? If they're interested, they're going to send me a message. You'd be surprised. So if you're going to close out an ad, a message, a blog post, tell them to click here to learn more. In your Instagram bio, it should say, click the link in the bio to discover more about microblading now. Claim your spot before the special ends. Join our family. Try it today. Get started this month. Send me a DM to get our info packet. Tell them what to do and just give it a try and see how that goes. I bet you that a lot of us, we're not doing this on social media. Again, because we're not salespeople, and this is not something that you just would know on your own, which is why you're here in the membership, right? So those are the things that I share as far as calls to action go, and I want you to try to use a couple of those, maybe write them down. And then lastly, I just want to talk about finding your fan club, right? Because there is an important part of this, which is sustaining your business. So a lot of people will take some of the techniques that I teach them and they'll implement them a little bit, but not with consistency. And what they find is it works a little, but the moment you stop doing it, you have a vacation, you didn't do it enough, and you weren't persistent and consistent enough to the point where it's sustainable. You want clientele that will come back no matter what forever. Not only that, they will only see you. They wouldn't even dare dream about seeing someone else, and they would never refer their family to anyone else. That's the kind of clientele that makes a difference between being booked here or there or being booked out 6 months or making a little extra change and having a 6-figure or more income. And so what I have found is that you're going to have your loyal friends and family or your clients that just love you. A lot of times I've found this to be personally true. Your clients will love and support you more than some of your closest friends and family. And that's mind-blowing to a lot of people, but you got to let that go. Don't worry about the friends that don't want to come or the family that's always asking for a discount. When you find the clients that love you and support you and show you by respecting your time and appreciating your craft and sending people, treat them like gold. Like treat them like they are. Those are the pillars to your success. If you can build that foundation with these people and then treat them good and keep them, you will have a business for years and years until you don't want it anymore. And that's the goal. It's not short-term success. This is long-term success. And you're going to have goals that go beyond this week, this month, this year. So you need these people. These are your brand ambassadors. If you have new services and you need to practice on someone, call them first. If you want to do a video or get some better content, call them and ask them first. These are the people you want, and they want to. They've already shown you. They tell you how much they love you. They want to support you. So there's almost nothing you can't ask them for because they like you already. You've already won the connection battle that we've been talking about. So use them. And if you don't have anyone, part of the problem is just that you need to put the things we've been talking about in this training into place and you'll get them. But beyond that, you can be more aggressive and go find them. Bloggers and influencers are in the business of supporting brands and other people by using products and then sharing them with their following. So those are great people to start to recruit into your community, and then using influencer marketing, create relationships where you can trade or offer things for cost with these people in exchange for helping to grow your tribe. But these will be your biggest supporters along the way. And I can't say enough about having that club, that tribe, that support group, that foundation, what that means for business growth. And then lastly, really, I want you to remember to connect within the community. By being a member of the Alliance, you have a built-in fan club right here. Like when you make a post, if you need some comments and some interaction, post in the group and ask us to come look at it. When you have some work that you've done and you want to know what you could do to get better or what we think about it, post in our Facebook group. It's just for us. When someone's not a member anymore, they're out of it, right? So it's only for people that are like-minded like you who are trying to grow. And then for me to be your coach. And I can't coach you if you won't talk to me and ask me questions and seek guidance and support. There is no silly question. There are no rules. So anything you want to ask about or get guidance about or share should be shared in our safe space, right? So I am your coach, your trainer, and we are your tribe. So together we're going to go through all of this and we're going to grow as a team. So I do feel very passionately about this, that success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And it's not usually these big, giant, hard tasks. You don't need to go back to school. You don't need to take 3 classes this year and spend $10,000 learning new skills. It's the little things that you do on a regular basis, those habits. Those are the things that make a difference between you maybe having a little side hustle and then making $1 million doing what you love. So I hope that this training was helpful to you guys. And there's a lot more to come down the pipeline, like I said, with our customer persona training. And then we also have several videos that support what we've talked about already that are a little more foundational if this feels too high level for you. So go back into the replays in your dashboard. Remember, you have access to every single video we have ever made just like this, and all the slide decks as soon as you become a member. So in the replay section, there are topics, so you can see the date and then what we talked about, but there are several branding exercises and classes that will also support this. So if this is something, and this is your space, this is what you need to work on right now, go back in there and make sure that you follow through with those classes as well, because they will all work together to help you. The second thing I want you to do is take the Social Media Made Simple course if you haven't, because we talk a lot about branding there. And again, more foundational, lower level if this feels too abstract and high level for you. And then lastly, I need you to use me. So make sure that you're reaching out, ask me the questions. If you don't know what to do, but you're like, here's what I'm doing currently and it's not working, I need more clients, I need to hear from you so that I can help you. And that's why you're a member. So I can literally give you my knowledge, right? That's all that you need. Sometimes it's just support and advice. So with that being said, we're going to close this video, and I will see you guys in our next live or pre-recorded weekly training call. Please make sure that you remember, after you take the classes, you can go into the Facebook group and post or ask any questions about the topic that we've talked about at hand, along with anything else. And I'll see you guys in our next video. Thanks for watching.